Hello. Hopefully this is all working. Let me know if you can hear me. Cool. So, we are back. Tech issues are fun. They're great. Amazing. We love them. Cool. So, I'm going to get started straight away. And I'll explain the game as we're going. So, just gonna make sure we're ready to go. Cool, great, ready to go. So, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So this is Animaniacs, The Great Edgar Hunt. It came out on 6th gen consoles, all of them in the EU region, and only GameCube in America. So if you played this game in America, you would have only played it on the GameCube. So already, we're just going to jump over an invisible wall here to the side. If I can get over it, there we go. And then this wall would normally require 4 collectibles to get through. This door, sorry. But we're just going to skip that entirely. Just by clicking through this wall. If the game will let me. Sometimes these can be a bit tricky. No, there we go. Cool. So already we just skipped into the second world. So how this game works. There are 5... there's a hub world and then there's 5 worlds you can go to, and the game intends you to go to them in order, and each one is opened by a certain number of collectibles. We're going to skip the first one for now because we need to go back there later anyway with more collectibles that we get. So we're going to jump straight to the second one, which is super easy. So the story is there's a director, Cecil DeVille, who is annoyed that he doesn't get chosen, so he takes all the Edgars, which are Oscars, and holds them ransom and says he's going to burn them down unless he gets given a film. And we are on a quest to rescue the 45 Edgars. We need 36 to fight the final boss. And the final boss gives you 1, so out of 44, we have to get 36 of them. Each level has 8, if I remember correctly. And we get basically 7 in every level and then 6 in one, and then some in the home world. So all we're doing now is just killing some ghosts, doing some ghost busting. If we stand here, we can get all of them from one spot rather than having to run around and collect them all. And you'll notice there's a little pumpkin there on the ground. Each level has its own little collectible like that. There are 300 in every level. You get an Edgar for getting 125, and then you get another Edgar for getting all 300. Obviously, getting all 300 is incredibly slow. So we only ever get the 125 once in every level, seeing as we have to run around the entire... Come on. There we go. Seeing as we have to get the 125... Seriously, guys? Yeah. We have to get... We'll go around the entire level anyway, so we may as well get the 125 Edgar. There we go. Sometimes, if they're a bit further away, they can be a bit finicky, especially because you can't, like, you don't just hit them straight on, like, you go, like, slightly underneath or slightly on the top. Great, and that is the first little area done. We go and talk to this guy here, and collect our first Edgar. So there are 36 of these. And normally you play this game without the memory card, but there are some risky things to go for that can lose you a bunch of time if you don't have saves. So, once again, I'm meant to have 6 Edgars to go through this wall. But we're just going to jump straight through. So what I haven't explained actually yet. So there is a speed tech in this game where essentially you have a parachute that you can use to float. And when you jump out of the parachute, you get given a little speed boost forwards. However, with that speed boost, if you hold neutral when you land and then jump again, you keep the speed boost into the jump. So you'll see here, I have a speed boost there coming just from the fact that I just held neutral as I landed. It saves a bunch of time all over the place and lets some skips happen. Now we have our first boss fight. It's really complicated. We're going to stand here, avoid the attacks, and just hit. It's Frankenstein's monster. And at the beginning of the game, we can only play as Yakko. However, after this fight, we will unlock Wacko. And then slightly later on, we will unlock Dot. Dot is pretty useless, only used for one thing. Unfortunately. Oh. If we attack too early, she will zap us. So we want to just make sure we're timing this right, so we don't jump into her too early. Amazing. And now she's dead. And that unlocks the next area. We can technically skip that fight, but it's a quick enough Edgar that we can, and also it unlocks a character. Cool, and now we're just going to die. That'll put us back to the other end of the tunnel. Okay. Sometimes this game is quite weird with input. Sometimes it will just ignore the fact you've done an input. Clip through the wall. There we go. So actually, this strat of sort of conserving your speed through the parachute is quite a new thing. Back when I ran this game before the new runners came in, it wasn't really a thing. So there are skips you can do without it, but it just does save a lot of time. That's not right at all. There we go. So now we have a puzzle cube. Wish I could play this game. There we go. So we have 4 sides to do. First side is a little sliding block puzzle. This is a memory puzzle that I'm going to cheat, and I have it written on my screen, so I may be a bit slow, but I haven't played this game in a very long time. Ooh, 17. This one I remember because it's always the diagonals. 7. Where am I? There we go, that's the memory puzzle. Third one is this block puzzle. Originally, when it was first me playing the game, I didn't realise you could turn the block by pressing B, but you can, so it just makes it slightly easier and slightly quicker. And then the fourth side is meant to be a maze. However, by quitting out of the block and coming back in, it puts your cursor right in the middle, so you just skip most of the maze. And there is another Edgar. Cool, so now we are heading over to the basement. We're going to take that lift that we opened earlier after the boss fight. Go grab some pumpkins. And then we're going to go into the lift, but we can just run straight out. And the game will still load the next area. It's all fine. And now we're going to once again use our little booster to get through this area quicker. Oh, I'm going to die. Take a bit safer. Cool, there we go. So the wall closes behind us. And then we become Indiana Jones. So we're going to open up the next area. And now there's a boulder coming. And now once again we're going to use our little speed boost trick. Just to get a bit of speed boost going through here. As you can see, the boulder's never going to catch us. And now there's a room with a clock. We're meant to do a puzzle here, where we sort of solve some different things over some different cases, but we're just going to... Oh, if I can get this. Just going to jump through this wall. Get out of bounds, use the camera, and skip that entire puzzle. Boring puzzle, we don't need it. There used to be another way of doing that, which was like to jump into the final room, which gives you an item, which then opens the door. But then we just found that you can just clip through the wall. Because walls do not exist in this game. Go to top here, turn on the fountain. Turn off the fountain, I should say. There is our final Edgar. We're going to get this visit. Unfortunately, because of how the game's built, we have to visit one level twice, so this is the level we visit twice, because it doesn't make sense. And now we enter our first kink in the brain minigame. So there's a bunch of these throughout the game. This first one is a maze where we're trying not to die, which is really hard to play with a joystick. Let's be careful, we're going to go this way. Going to push this out of the way. Ooh, go the wrong way. Got to wait a tiny bit because I messed up a bit earlier on. These are all on a global cycle, so in theory, if you do it right, you can just run through the whole thing without stopping. But I am not good enough. I've played this game in a very long time. And then here we have to be a bit careful because if you actually flick back too quickly, you can still get hit by the bomb. So you have to just be a bit careful, take a bit longer there. So this one's a pretty easy puzzle. If you know what you're doing, it's really straightforward. Amazing. And doing that allows us to get this lovely shovel. So every character has its own ability, like those items. Oh, where's that going to put me? I think it might... Oh, please don't put me in the top room. All the way... Oh, dear. Okay. That's not good. Oh, and that's going to... Oh dear, not good. Okay, well let's do the boulder chase again. That is a lot of time lost. This game can be a bit funny sometimes with where it puts you after you die. Sometimes it will put you all the way back in. Oh, I lost my speed boost. Yeah, sometimes it will put you all the way back to a checkpoint door. Sometimes it will only put you in that same area. So I just got a bit unlucky there with where it triggered. Okay, back here. We got the shovel. So anyway, like I was saying, each character gets one item. So Wacko, who I'm going to turn into a bit later, gets a shovel. Yakko, who I am now, gets some bombs. However, you won't see those. And then Dot gets a hula skirt, which we will also see later. And now it's going to clip through this wall. There we go. So we do get the ability to swim, but not yet. I should say swim underwater. We're just going to come in here now because it unlocks a mission for later on. So when we come back, it's a bit quicker because we can open this door, which is a warp door. And that is it for our first trip. Amazing. So like I said, we have to come back to A level twice because of a thing I'm going to do in a sec. And we do that one just because it's the one that makes the most sense to do twice. You can actually get into every single level with 0 edges. Okay, now I'm going to take a death abuse here. And this is a useful death abuse because this puts me back in the middle of the town square. Which allows me to do the next Pinky and the Brain minigame. And we're now going to build a water tower. So this minigame is only available at 4 edges. You cannot... Oh, please grab them. You cannot do this minigame with any other amount of edges. If you get 5 edges, this minigame disappears. And you stop off the entire game. Literally. Oh. Please. Reset. Try that again.
3, 2,
Yeah, so if you don't do this before, you just define the boss. You cannot keep the game. With these, I took it a bit risky there, didn't pay off. If you drop them, they will sometimes connect, but sometimes they will just sort of slide around. If you don't catch them, they can get stuck. Here's the water tower. For anyone who hasn't seen the TV show, this is where they live. And then finally, cool. What a solid run this is so far. Yeah, so you can see there's a little plane that unlocks at 36, and that's the final boss. There's currently no known way of getting into that early. There are triggers in other levels for certain things, but we haven't found anything in the overworld just yet. Cool, so now we're going to head to what would in theory be the third world. Nope, that's not good. Normally we need 9 Edgars to get in here. So we jump over the wall. And then normally we need to use the laser we use to kill the ghost to get across this gap. But we can just jump across. Cool, and now we are into the second world of the run, the third world of the actual game, Once Upon a Time. So each world has a theme. So the first world we went to was Spooky Movie. This is Once Upon a Time, which is all based on fairy tales. And this gives us the swimming goggles. Now we can swim underwater. And to swim underwater, we just mash the A button as much as we can. There's no timing. And the pumpkins here are now crowns, so we need to get 125 crowns to get the 125 crown Edgar in this level. You can technically skip this swimming section, but it's not really worth it. And you want swimming for later. You can also technically skip the swimming later as well, but it's a bit slower, so there's not really much point. Now we're going to help Bo Peep shave her 5 sheep. Her electrified sheep. No, okay. Luckily we only need to get 1 from that field because the other 3 we need to get are pretty straightforward to get. I'm going to put them into the shearing machine. I say shearing because it's shearing, not shaving. And if you touch them, they electrify you and they won't detect you for a second, so it's really slow. So be careful not to just run straight into them. Or run straight into the water. Be careful. So we won't get to see another of the Animaniacs until we get out of this level, so we're still stuck with Yakko for now. In theory, if you were playing this game casually, you'd have all 3 at this point, but we won't be getting Dot until much later into the run. So like I said, she's pretty useless. We'll grab these. There's a bit of delay on this cutscene loading with Bo Peep. I have one time gotten that cutscene to play straight away. I don't know how I did it. And I would grab the Edgar. Annoyingly, Edgars in this game seem to only spawn in once you've done the task. So you can clip through that gate, but the Edgar's not there. Oh, and now we're going to do another bit of a little sequence break. Normally what would happen here is you'd go into this woods and you'd need the night vision goggles, which you get in the next world. However, by just jumping out of bounds, we can just go straight in to the woods. And just one gives us a bunch of crowns, but also allows us to get this Edgar early. So here's this Miss Muffet. She sat on her tuffet. Normally, if we just went straight back out, we would end up making the screen really dark, which it is possible to move in, but you can't see. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump on top of this branch and jump over the trigger that darkened the screen again. Get Miss Muffet to follow us. So she is terrified of spiders. However, she's only terrified of spiders when they're floating in the air. So as long as you knock them down, she'll just walk around them. Sometimes they can give you apples, which is what I was looking for. There we go.
We never break for lunch.
You can get more apples by collecting actually letters in the levels, but in a speedrun that is slow, so we will not be doing that. Oh, there we go. We have saving something. So there you saw 3 briefly pop up on the screen. So that would normally be you get 3 seconds in the area and then you can walk back to the beginning. But because we jumped over that trigger, we can just skip that. So we're going to open this warp door for a bit later. I'm very low on crowns, but it's fine. There's a bunch of crowns in this level. This level's the easiest one to get 125 crowns on, because there's so many. Now we have 3 Billy Goats run.
Who's that trapping over my bridge?
So each one's going to run over. The first one's really slow, so we have ages to press the B button. And apparently that was too early, even though I pressed it after it was on the screen. So this game has a couple of really questionable design choices. This is one of them. You can press B as soon as it comes up and it still won't register as a B press. And that one I pressed B and it just didn't press. Solid game.
Who's that trapping over my bridge?
So in terms of the background of this game is actually made by the same company that made HP1 on 6th Gen. Warthog Games.
It doesn't matter.
So if you want an idea of sort of quality, that's who the game's made by. Cool, there's the second one.
Bad. One more chance. I'll get the big guy though.
And the big one is really fast. Cool, there we go. Easy. I say it as I miss it twice. So we get the Edgar from that. So now we're gonna go and visit the old witch. I press the jump button. There we go. So there's the witch in the gingerbread house. She needs some wood for her fire. So we're going to go and get her some wood. There we go. We need to get 5 bits of wood, which is easy enough. And you see there's a little table. By standing on top, you get given the wood straight away, which is useful in a bit. I'll show you when we get the last one. Come on. So our second bit of wood. And getting hit by all these enemies is not a good idea because they will just send you flying. And then you have to try and find your way back up. This has not been a good playthrough so far. Wood number 3. Nice. I'm gonna grab this apple because otherwise I'm gonna die. No. Okay, missed it. Annoyingly, you can only collect these after you've talked to the witch, so you can't get those any earlier. Head back. Cool, I'm going to head back out of bounds here. And then there's a cloud there. Normally what you're meant to do is build a beanstalk. However, if I can do this well... I'm going to jump over, get our little speed boost from our speed trick. That didn't work. There we go. So you can just hit the trigger like that, so you don't need to build the beanstalk, but we'll spawn on the beanstalk. Gotta jump over this gap. Another little bonus of the speed momentum carry is that it allows our ground pounds to have momentum as well. We're going to clip through this gate. Normally what we do at this point is we use Dot, because Dot has an ability to clip under... not clip. I shouldn't say that. Her ability is to limbo under walls like that. And then normally we need 14 Edgars to get through this door here. However, as you've seen, walls don't exist in this game, so we'll just clip through this wall. And that puts us on the other side. There is a way of doing that without falling into the void, which is actually quicker. But it's really risky, and it requires a decent clip, which I didn't get. Cool, and now we're on to our next Pinky and the Brain minigame. So all we do here, we get two different types of things we can have. We have these bombs, which we need to get rid of. And then we have these little marbles, which we're going to crush. And that's all we do in this minigame. It's completely RNG what you get. You just have to react. You can only get two of one thing in a row before it turns into something else. There's not always two in a row. This is the worst RNG you can get. But doing this minigame will give us one of the most useful items we will have for the speedrun. Wow, this RNG is appalling. Cool, there we go. You only need to get 5. And that will give us this little magnifying glass. And I'll show you what that does. Now we're going to clip through this wall. And land in the lava on the other side. You can jump straight across and skip this lower area, but that requires getting a clip on the first jump and then jumping across. And now we have our next boss fight. Obviously, a giant green dragon. So you can technically get here without going to the second level. However, the second level gives you the ghost killing gun thing, the ray gun. And if you don't have that, you can't defeat this boss. Because you need it to shoot down this rock. So we have to do this 3 times, and each time they add 2 more platforms. Now we have 5. There is technically a spot on the gold on the side that you can stand on, but it's not really useful because you can't avoid the lava breath that way. Cool, so here's the second one. And you need to be really precise with these shots. If you shoot too high or too low, it will register that it's hitting, but it won't work for some stupid reason. Cool. And now we're on to number 3. You can technically just stand on one platform and jump to the left and to the right. But I prefer to do it this way, it's more fun. And number 2 is quick enough. Cool. And that will give us our last Edgar, which I got while dying. Dying where you get it doesn't do anything. It just refills your health a bit. Cool. And now we can use the warp door to head back to that middle area where the beanstalk was. So the magnifying glass, what it does, every level has a hidden enemy.
That's not an evil mushroom. It's a chicken.
Every level has an evil chicken in it. And you can only get the chickens once you have the magnifying glass. And what you're meant to do is you're meant to use the magnifying glass to look at every enemy in the level to see which one is a chicken. But it's always the same enemy. So as long as we know which one it is,
We never break for lunch.
you can always just get the chicken. But you need the magnifying glass to be able to get the chicken. Which is another reason why we come here as early as possible. Because the chickens are the quickest Edgars in the entire game. Oh, this is not been good. Please hit the switch. There we go. Oh, this is an interesting level. Oh, I need to not forget to actually just get the 125 Edgar. My bad. I just completely lost track of what I was doing.
Just what the doctor ordered.
Cool. Also, for some weird reason, these Edgars can't spawn while you're in the air. So if you get one and then jump over to where the Edgar will be, you can collect the Edgar during the cutscene where it loads in.
Yummy.
Same with all the other Edgars. If you're standing where the Edgar spawns, you will collect the Edgar whilst the cutscene is loading. So now the witch is going to try and kill us. But she hit her own mirror and turned herself into a frog. We get the final Edgar of this level. Nice. So now we can leave. Oh. Maybe. There we go. And we don't have to come back here, luckily. Every single level we will visit once, except for Spooky Movie, we will go back to in a bit. So now that we've done that level, we get to say goodbye to Yakko, because we are now going to swap to Wakko. And we will never see Yakko again in this run.
Balls, would you?
Sad times. So like we saw earlier, we got a shovel. And the shovel can be used to dig up these little bits of dirt. This one is useful because it gives you the hula skirt, which is what Dot will use to limbo. Funnily enough, we don't actually have Dot yet, but when we get Dot, she can use it to limbo. Just gonna grab these film canisters.
Yummy.
And then we can just leave. Even if you don't have enough Edgars, you can just walk out that door. Now we're heading to what used to be one of my least favourite levels, but now is one of my favourite levels. King O'Sullivan's Mines. There we go. Clip through that wall. You actually are one Edgar too short to get in there normally, so you have to do the clip. Then we're meant to use these zip lines. However, you can just jump across the gap. And into King O'Sullivan's Mines. Nice. Once again, we're going to get all the Edgars here except for the 300 collectibles Edgar. And in this level, the 125 collectibles will be little emeralds. So we have to be actually quite careful with the emerald collection here because we skip a giant chunk of this level.
Do you have any pizza flavored apples?
So now we're going to enter in here. Be careful, we're going to attack.
That's not a bat.
It's not a bat.
It's a chicken.
There we go. Nice, easy Edgar. So now we're at 12. We're a third of the way through on an Edgar count. And now this level would actually be unlocked with the normal amount of Edgars you need to get into this level. Now what you're meant to do here is press these switches to get across. We can just jump under the lasers. Okay, checkpoints. If I die here, I go back to the beginning of the level. I don't want to do that. Cool, and into one of my least favourite rooms in the game. You can technically skip this room that I'm in now. You can do like a clip through the wall and stuff, however, it's quite risky. And if I fail it, I have to reset the level. So I'd rather not. So instead I'm just going to do it the normal way, which is just to stack these eyes. I'm in a bad position for that final eye. There we go. Cool, and that opens the door. You can actually get out of this room and skip this room without using the speed boost trick. But that is stupidly precise, so there's no point going for that one either. Cool. And then we have another room which has a little puzzle in it where you're meant to like match the sound. However, once again, we have the ability to just click whenever we want to. So it's going to clip through this wall. If it will let me. There we go. Cool. So that saves a bit of time. You can also do that skip without the speed trick. Once again, it's a lot more precise. Jump over these moving platforms. We get our Edgar. You can see there's a little warp door here, so we can just warp straight back to the beginning of the level. So now we get into sort of the funner stuff in this level. Well, after we do a nice swimming section. You can also technically skip all of this by doing some out of bounds stuff. Oh, I need these emeralds. Yeah, you can skip all this, but it's not as quick because you can't get out of the area after you get the Edgar at the end of this area. You have to reset the level. This is like a little maze where you're meant to work out which way to go, but we know because we're speedrunners. So we're just going to skip all of that. You can see there we have a little scuba gear on when we get the Edgars underwater. Which is a cute little thing to add. Cool, so that's this area done. And now we get into the fun stuff. So I have to be careful in this area because if you jump too hard in this area, you clip out of bounds. It's a well-designed little swamp. And at the moment, we can't clip out of bounds because if we fall into the void, we'd have to reset the level. Because how this game works, you saw in the level before this, we used the death barrier to sort of warp ourselves back into the level. If you do that in a level, it disables it in every other level in the game. So at the moment, if we fall to the death floor, we would just fall infinitely. So we have to be careful not to do that. Cool, so now that we've done that, normally we have to go back around here, go back to the beginning. What we're meant to be doing in this level is making like a key. However, I can get on this roof. There we go. What we can do is just get up on this wall, aim ourselves. That's not good. Need the speed boost. That was a speed boost, but I wasn't confident in it. And fall straight into the loading trigger for the boss. So that skips like going through an entire dungeon area. Cool. And this boss is pretty straightforward. You need to knock down all these pillars. And also we want to take as much damage as possible without collecting these apples. Because we will need to do a death warp after this level. Oh, that's not good. There we go. Yeah, like we saw a second ago, if you're in front of the laser, you get hit and it will stop, so you want to try and not get hit by the laser. Cool, and then final round. For this one, we have to cut the corners like this, because if we don't, then he doesn't move quick enough. That's annoying. Oh, might still work. Yep, we're fine. Cool. So every level has one of those, like, what's meant to be a boss fight. Some of them are actual bosses, some of them are just levels or areas. And now we can go back to the beginning area and just do some final little bit of collecting. We need to make sure we have like 121 of these before we do the next bit. We should be fine. Like I said, we skip an entire chunk of this level, so we're actually quite low on edges when it comes to this level. Low on edges, low on like these mini collectibles. Cool. So yeah, normally what we'd need is in this level there are like 3 key fragments. But we can just skip that by... The game will let me. No, please, game. There we go. Okay. I have to quit out of the level. So what we need to do there is clip through that wall and then get on top of that area that's out of bounds. But if you miss it, unfortunately, because we didn't get the death barrierless once upon a time, I have to reload the level. Head back there. Luckily, the game saves all the mini collectibles and stuff you get in levels. Please get through the wall. Goodness. There we go. So now we're going to get into this little area here. And there's actually a blackout area. Because it warps you back to the beginning of the area, it just warps you back into the inside the area. Now the word area doesn't sound like an actual word. Luckily, because we collect this Edgar as the lights go out again, it skips us warping us back to the beginning of that area, so we can just stay in darkness. Cool, and that is this level done. Yeah, like you saw, there's like a corridor there that takes you into an entirely different area, and it gives you the bomb ability for Yakko, and it has like a whole little like clock puzzle and things like that. But we just skip all of that; we don't need it. But there's also a bunch of collectibles down there. So we're gonna take a death here. No, we don't want to go into the level. We'll take a death, which will take us back to the main hub area. So, and now we're going to head to what would normally be the first level you do in the game. And we save this for later just because it's quicker to do it all in one go than to do it one half then the other. And that's why, because normally in this first level you can only get 4 Edgars without revisits, so that's why there's that weird thing with that Water Tower minigame. Why it only works at 4 and nothing else, because normally they expect you to get all the Edgars you can in the first level and then go and do the Water Tower. But because we can actually just get more, we have to be careful. Which makes routing really awkward. Also, technically for this game, Xbox is faster because it has faster loads. However, with some of the older routes, the game would crash at certain points. I haven't tested it with the most up-to-date route, so it might not crash, so it might be fastest on Xbox. But I haven't really had too much time to practice this game. I've had a very busy couple of weeks. So this is more a demonstration of what is possible in this game rather than an optimized speedrun. So here we're going to chase down these 5 people. They always follow the same paths. So if you do the same movement, you will always get them at the same points. And then in this cutscene, you will see actually it's just Yakko, because you wouldn't have Wakko at this point. Of course, now we're going to do a little, tiny little skip. Doesn't really save a huge amount of time, but it saves a tiny amount. So what we can do here, there's actually a, there's an inn that you're meant to go into, and there's a Pinky in the Brain minigame inside the inn. But the trigger to activate it is always active, so you can just activate it from outside. Unfortunately, it does mean that the minigame doesn't load in properly, so you do have to reset the minigame, but it's still slightly quicker. And we're just going to collect some horseshoes. Cool. Now we're going to quit out just to skip this last bit of cutscene. You can technically do that on all the Pinky and the Brain minigames, but that one's the easiest one to do it on, because you're already on the exit button. Cool. You can see here the little collectible in this level is a little pile of gold, is what it's meant to be. Or at least that's what I've always assumed it's meant to be. This is another level where you have to collect a lot of the ones on the way, because there are a couple of side areas that you just don't go into because they're not useful. We're going to follow around the corner, make our way to the next hidden chicken, which is this cactus over here. Collect some things while we wait for it to shoot its little darts. We have to wait a tiny bit, so we may as well just do a bit of collecting.
Not an extra from one of the sets. It's a chicken.
It's a chicken. So we grab this Edgar. And now normally there's like a train station that we'd enter with 2 Edgars, but you can just get on top of this wall and just skip the entire thing, or you can fall out of bounds. That's the other option. Everything that can go wrong has gone wrong. It's fine, I put the estimate fairly high, so in theory we should still be under estimate, hopefully. Maybe. It's fine. It's not like we're that far behind. Okay, so now I have to travel back through the entire level. Yeah, so you can see here how much speed you get from that little boost. go through the normal way. So what you can do is you can get out of bounds and you can just jump straight into the trigger for the train minigame, which is here. And this is actually where you would save Dot. Dot is tied onto this onto the train tracks, so we're trying to stop this train. So this is like the boss in this game, in this level. And then all of this is RNG, like all the carriages, all the things that hit you. So you just have to sort of react to it as it comes. And all these guys popping out is also RNG. So you want to try and stay as central as possible, and then move when you know where it's going to be. There we go. And final one is a 7. There we go. Now we can get to the front. And we're done. We're done with that little area. Save Dot from being run over by a train. And that also gives us an Edgar, which is why we do it. In theory, you could collect some other stuff and sort of skip that, but it's quick enough. And also there's a Dot Edgar as well that we will get. That's also semi-quick. Oh, camera, please cooperate. So now we're going to swap to being Dot. And you will see Dot for a very short amount of time in this run. She is useful for one Edgar and one Edgar only. Don't get run over. There we go. So, they've had no rain and they have no water, so they need to perform a limbo competition to make it rain. So we're going to help out with that. And Dot is the only one who can limbo because she's the only one who can put on the limbo dress, the limbo skirt. One. Want to see how we have to do 3 of these. This is maybe, I wouldn't say the most boring, but there's the least stuff happening in this level because all the Edgars are just sort of like drawn out things that don't really have a lot of collecting in them. So we'll do the second limbo. You can technically do these ones slightly closer to save a bit of time, but it's not worth risking it because if you're too close, you just walk into the pole. Now our final one. We have to wait for our competitor to walk all the way around. There he is. Just get to look at this screen for a really long time while he walks around getting ready to go. We have to delay pressing Y a tiny bit here because if we press it straight away, we walk straight into him. And we are under the final pole. And that will make it rain. Now they have water, we can go and get our Edgar. Nice. We stay as Dot for a tiny bit more, but then after we've done a bit of collecting gold pieces, we will say goodbye to her because she's not useful. Oh, okay. Where am I? Oh. Go this way. So, oh, please game. In this game, you can ground pound on sloped surfaces. In theory, Dot has a bit of a weird animation. Just be a bit careful with how you the timing for the jumping. So if you ground pound on the sloped surface and then hold neutral and jump, you will get another jump out of the slope surface. You can climb up the slope indefinitely, which you will see a bit of in a bit. Gonna collect as many of these as we can. We're going to take this little side path. Technically, we don't have to go down here. There's a bunch of collectibles down here that are just quick to get.
Wow, Edgar's better than my personal trainer.
Going to collect all the ones here. There are 4 up here on this platform that we're going to get. You can see there's this paw prints on the wall. Normally what you do is you get suction cups from this area, and they allow you to climb up the walls. But I think you can actually skip every single suction cup wall in the game. I don't think there's any that you are required to climb.
So that dried up fuzzy thing on the bottom of an apple is yours.
So now we're going to jump over here. Yeah, see there's a bunch of these gold things right at the end of the level. We should be fine to get 125. The other thing you have to be careful of is where you get the final... Okay. Where you get the final gold piece. Because each level has several spawn locations that the Edgar can spawn in. So you have to make sure you spawn it in a place where you're going to be able to get the Edgar quite easily. Because some of them are a bit out of the way. Cool, and now that we've done that, we can say goodbye to Dot forever. We don't actually need to be Dot for this section. It just happens to be quicker. And now we're going to go back to Wacko, who we will be for the rest of the run. And Wacko allows us to get the final Edgar in this level, which is a nice taming the horse minigame. You can actually get into this early. However, if you do, the game crashes. Like the game, it just crashes completely. It won't let you do the minigame. You have to do the normal entrance with digging and hitting the key. Now we're going to press some directions. We'll run around a bit. It's RNG whether the horse does the little prepping step at the beginning of each move. So in the first round it does 1 at a time. Second round it's going to do 3 at a time. And then the last round it will do 5 at a time. The timing's pretty generous on all of them though, so you're sort of fine. So the final one. And the second round is nice because if you miss one, you can still do it in 3 sets. So you don't really lose much time. Final one, you need to get it in 2. Because there's 9 dots that you need to clear. And 10 moves to do it in. So if you fail one, it goes back to the left one. There we go. Now we have the only unskippable cutscene in the game. So we'll get to watch.
Well, I'll be danged. You managed it, champ. You tamed the unruly beast.
Yeah, and I rode that horsey too.
I'd have never believed it unless I'd seen it with my own eyes. Here's your reward, champ.
Cool. So now we get the final Edgar in this level. Here's your reward, champ. And we get to leave. So that's the Edgar that Xbox will crash on if you're not in a certain place for some reason. I don't know. It's strange. But now we are going to head back to Spooky Movie. We only have 2 levels left. We have Spooky Movie Revisit and the final level, which is called the Epic. If you can take a wild stab in the dark to what the Epic refers to in terms of like a setting. We're going to get a bunch of these film canisters on this visit because we need 125 still. I'm actually fairly high on them, interestingly. Ooh. This game has a bit of a weird collision when it comes to walls sometimes. You get these ones, and there's also some over here in these that I want to get these ones. Nice. And then here you'll see this enemy that we died to earlier. We're going to just wait a tiny bit. And kill it, because shockingly, this enemy is... the chicken.
That's not an Edgar from one of the sets. It's a chicken.
Yeah, so the hub world has 5 Edgars. It has the 125 and 300 collectibles Edgar. It has the final boss Edgar, which doesn't count towards our 36 total. It has this Edgar from the chicken, and it also has an Edgar which is obtained by collecting a page in every level. Because you're meant to go and collect like script pages, if I remember correctly. But that one is fairly quick, but not quick enough. Like some of them are literally on the way in some levels, but some of them are a bit out of the way. So it's just not worth going for. So now we're back here, and we have the shovel and we have Wacko. So now what we're going to do is in this first area we're going to collect these 5 bones that guy at the end of the level wanted. Need to make sure to get extra pumpkins from fairly low. Okay, we're going to also head inside the mansion, because we have to collect the chicken Edgar, which is actually at the top of the stairs. This guy's here. There we go.
Did you know the world's largest apple?
That's not a psychotic chainsaw.
And if you do an attack going into this cutscene, the punching glove will stay out. But yeah, that's not a psychotic chainsaw wielding maniac. That's a chicken. Cool, so now we can head back outside. I'm very low on pumpkins. No, actually, I should be fine. Just need to make sure I go into the final area with like 117-ish. Now we're going to do a bit more digging. There's another hole here.
I can dig it, baby.
I'm going to collect these 4. And then the collision on these digging piles can be a bit funky sometimes, just to be a bit careful. I'm going to get the final one. They're very low on pumpkins. We should be fine though, because we can just backtrack through the level if we need to get a couple more. So we're going to go back to the end. There we go, gave him his bones back, which gets us another Edgar. Yeah, we are very low, so I'm going to have to do a tiny bit of backtracking, but it's fine. I shouldn't lose too much time. I say that, I've lost quite a lot of time throughout this run anyway, so... yeah. The Edgar, if you collect them in the water, the Edgar always spawns on the other side of these gates. So I have to just go around. There we go. And like you saw, we can now swim under these, so it's not the end of the world. Cool, and now we get to go to the very final level. So the final level takes like, what, 11 minutes or so, and then the final boss fight. So we should in theory still come in underestimate, which is shocking because this run has not gone anywhere close to what I would have hoped. We can just head back through the door. There's this film canister here. There's some film canisters down here as well. I still haven't learnt the absolute fastest pathway through these areas. Because there are like actually like just fastest from canisters. That requires actually doing practice, which is not something I'm very good at. Go on, here's the final area. So you need 25 to get in here. You can get in with 0. I actually think you can get all the Edgars you get without having any collectibles, if I think correctly. Actually, you could come here first. Can you? No, you can't. That's a lie. And then the Edgar's going to spawn here. There we go. And now we're into the final level. So obviously it's the epic, so it's based on sort of Greek, Egyptian mythology sort of stuff. It's a real mix of things. So now we're going to start by climbing up this wall. And in this level, the collectibles are scarab beetles. Gonna get 125 of them. This one I always think is the hardest one to get them all in, because there's just very few. And also we skip an entire Edgar in this level, because there's one that's just incredibly slow. There's one that requires you like a bunch of collectibles and a bunch of mini games. Please give me scarab beetles. Of course, now we talk to Cleopatra. She wants us to run her milk bath, which requires getting 3 donkeys. We don't want to do that right now. So what we're going to do... This level is meant to be fairly linear, but we don't like linear things. So what we're going to do is we're going to clip through this invisible wall here. We're going to take it a bit careful. Or not. We'll restart the level. So yeah, this level is meant to be you fill Cleopatra's milk bath, which lets you then do a light puzzle, which then opens up the next area, which then allows you into the second area of the level, which has the chicken in it, and there's like a little escort mission in there, and then you start up with the third collectible mission, which opens up the third area, and then you just do that and you just return, and then you just open up the chariot race. However, doing all of that in that order is slower, so we just skip straight into that third area, second area, sorry. Let's try that again. So we'll click through this invisible wall. Gonna get a jump early. The annoying thing with this game is sometimes slopes will eat your jumps, so you will press A to jump and the game won't jump. So now what we're going to do here, we're going to make this soldier dizzy. Then we're going to talk to this slave owner. And there's a chicken. By doing that, we skip the chicken cutscene and we can collect the Edgar as soon as it spawns in. Saves a tiny bit of time. And we need to talk to the slave owner anyway. He's not a slave owner, his slaves. Oh, he is technically, I guess, but his slaves have been kidnapped. We're going to go and save his slaves. It's a fun little escort mission, which has pretty dark connotations if you stop and think about it for 2 seconds. So now we're going to head through this area. I don't know how any of these guys get to this area, because they're very, very low down spinning obstacles. Run through, there's a tiger there. We'll see a tiger in a bit anyway. That path down there has one of the pages. That one, in theory, is slow, but there's a skip to make it a bit quicker. Die. There's a walk door, we don't need it, so we're not going to talk to it. But we do need all these little scarab beetles. There we go, there's slave number 1. And funnily enough, if you go into that, jail cell, and the slave stands in front of it, you can actually soft lock yourself inside that jail cell, because the slave will not let you out, and they only follow you. So you just get stuck in there forever. And you have to quit out the level. Cool, now we're going to do a really difficult puzzle. A nice fun little water puzzle. Where we just basically just hit all of these. And the puzzle solves itself. There we go. Done the puzzle. That's the entire puzzle. That's it. That's all we have to do. And by doing them all at once, it makes the wait between each of these cutscenes quicker. Because the water actually flows down. And there's a third one. You get the Edgar. And unfortunately that Edgar is non-tangible under the glass, so we can't just grab it early. Make sure I get these slaves to follow me. Now we have the worst part of the entire run. Escort mission. So if you get too far away from these guys, they will stop following you. They will also get stuck on basically every wall you go past. There's a bit of lag there. Now we're going to get the third slave out. It's also freeze a tiger. But it's fine, we'll get rid of the tiger. Where are they? Follow me. Follow me. You know you can kill a tiger just by hitting it once. They're stuck on that wall. Now we have to be careful. These guys are short enough that they won't get killed by these giant spinning spikes. I think I've lost all of them. Keep following. Oh, I've lost one. Come on. Thank you.
Yo! It's hard to believe that I need more energy.
No, keep coming. Come on. Cool, there we go. That's all three. And then we can get into the loading zone, which just overlays some stuff. That cutscene and loading back into this area. That's not the right way. Gonna do a bit of collecting. So we are going to climb up this giant tower. We are literally only climbing up it to get these scarab beetles. There is technically an Edgar at the top, but it requires like coming up here, then going back down, collecting a bunch of stuff, which takes a while, then coming back up, and then doing like a chariot race. If you could skip to the chariot race, it would probably be quicker, but you can't skip any of it, so it just takes forever. So it's only coming up. Yeah, you can see there's a door there. And now we get to talk to him. There we go. Edgar 33. We have 3 Edgars left. So now we're going to get these donkeys to give some milk for However, we are also going to talk to this man who's stuck on the toilet. He needs some toilet paper. We're going to go and get some toilet paper for him. It's a nice, sensible game. So we have to chase these donkeys into these little pens. And then after we get them into these pens, we need to go and turn these wheels. But what we'll do is we'll get all the donkeys in first, and then we'll turn all the wheels at the same time, because the donkeys are all at the bottom, and the wheels are all at the top. Valve is the word I was looking for. We turn all the valves. Go that way. Go that way, donkey. There's valve number 2. Yeah, we need to just keep collecting these golden scarabs. I can't remember how many I need at this point, so we'll just imagine that I have enough. Cool. Oh, don't fall into that. Okay, I guess we'll get some extra ones. Guess while we're doing this, because there's not much going on at this point, so the reason I actually got into speedrunning this game, though many years ago, is literally I was bored one day, so I went on SRDC, speedrun.com, and I opened up the front page, and this is the first game that was on there. That's not going to work. Oh, that did work. So I was like, oh, this looks fun. And back then, the world record, I think when I looked, it was like a 148. If I remember correctly, I'm doing them on trees. And then a bunch of stuff was found, a bunch of clips were found. We didn't find the speed trick that I've been using throughout the entire run. But we found a lot of clips and stuff, we just picked a bunch of stuff. I think I missed one. No, I haven't. So there's all the toilet paper. And then I stopped running this game for a while because it was literally just me. And then a couple of other people recently have come into the game and found a bunch of stuff. Especially this speed thing. Oh, okay. I guess I'm not getting those Scarabeetles. Here's a fire. So, when I stopped running this game, the world record was a 116. The world record now for console is a 111, and then for emulator is a 105. So a bunch of cool stuff's been found. But a lot of it is very hard, and I'm not very good at hard stuff. I'm good at easy stuff. Oh. Please don't knock me off. Okay. There's valve number 1. We can just get this while the snake's there, it's fine, we don't have to kill the snake. I may lose some health here, so I'm going to have to be careful. Oh. Can't remember where there's an apple. Valve number 2. Get up there. Okay, I should be fine on these Scarabeetles as well, actually. Oh, I thought that was a snake. Yeah, so normally what would happen is you do Cleopatra's Bath and then you come back up here and there's a light puzzle on this roof. In, wait a sec, let me, this cutscene, there's Cleopatra in the bath. There's a light puzzle in there. There we go, I'm getting his toilet paper. So now we can go to the toilet properly.
It's hard to believe that I need more energy.
Now we have 2 more Edgars to get. We have our 125 Scarabs and we have our Cleopatra Edgar. I always forget to get these.
Golden, delicious, and kind to your teeth.
There we go. And then we just need 1 more Scarabeetle, which is the one on this throne. And there's our final Edgar. Nice. So now we can get into the final boss battle. Which, just warning everyone now, is the stupidest boss battle of all boss battles. Like, how it got beyond any sort of testing is beyond me. Because it is ridiculous. Cool. So, normally you'd death abuse here. However, I collected a load of apples at the end there for whatever reason. So I'm gonna just travel back normally and try and grab an apple on the way if I can remember where they are. I think there's one in here. No. 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 Okay, well there's definitely one in here. There we go. Time for the final boss battle. So how this works, we are shooting down a giant blimp. However, the movement of the plane is connected to the cursor. So we need to shoot whilst moving the plane with the same thing. Which is sort of fine for now because we're not shooting anything. But you'll see now, we need to shoot some hot air balloons that come out, whilst also avoiding these fire things that are being shot at us. So basically we have to sort of aim at the hot air balloons whilst also moving out of the way of the other stuff. And now this is the worst bit. We're going to shoot the back of this hot air wings. So there's 4 areas we need to hit. So you can do that in one cycle, however, it's ridiculously precise. Also, by the way, time is coming up relatively soonish. I'll try and make sure I get it in time. Timing actually changed recently, so timing used to be on the final hit of the hot air balloon of the blimp. However, we changed it because it's hard to time that exactly. The reason we did that is actually, so this game is a really stupid thing. If you are really low on health and you hit the blimp and you kill it, but you also die at the same time, you don't win. There you go. Time is coming up soon. Wait. Waiting for time. It's after this. Goodness. And time. Nice. So actually, came in under estimate. I am impressed. That was an interesting run. But yeah, it's a really cool game. There's loads of little tricks and skips you can do throughout the entire thing. There's loads of really cool stuff you can do. I recommend learning it, but everyone's going to say that at this marathon, so I actually mean it though. You definitely should watch a good run of this game. Go and watch the world record holder, Dvard, because they are very good at the game. Much better than I am. But considering this is actually the first run of this game I have done since my PB several years ago, I will take it. It's underestimate, so I'm happy. Cool. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to say, so I guess I'm going to wrap it up and stop talking so we can get on to the next run. But thank you for watching, and enjoy the runs.